Hey folks, this is Rhykker with a news wrap-up video on what's been going on in the worlds of Diablo and Overwatch over the past week. We'll start with Diablo, so if you're here for Overwatch, we're gonna put up here the time signature to go to skip to if you just want to go straight to the Overwatch content. And we'll note that I'll put links in the description below to any relevant videos and stories to learn more about what we're covering. So, kicking things off with Diablo, the Necromancer pack obviously released this week. You know, just in case my millions and millions of videos and live streams didn't tip you off. With the pack also came patch 2.6. These are all available now across all regions and PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Now, on the launch night, Blizzard did something a little special, and they started hyping it 24 hours before the event. So it was 8 PM on Monday night when the Diablo official Twitch channel went live. And on the footage, we saw a countdown ticking down for 24 hours, in other words, all the way to Wednesday at 8 PM. Apart from the timer, what we were seeing was footage of this right here, some creepy murder basement with a grungy chair.
Hello, Leah. I want to play a game.
Speculation started almost immediately. What was this countdown for? Was there going to be some big announcement at the end of the 24 hours? Could it be Diablo 4? No, that didn't make any sense. The Necromancer pack was finally launching hours before the timer would end. And it wouldn't make sense for Blizzard to undercut the launch of the Necromancer with a Diablo 4 reveal. They wouldn't want to do anything that pulled spotlight away from the Necromancer. So after some digging, we realized that the countdown was for a special stream event. Internet famous person Jessica Chobot will be live streaming some Necromancer gameplay from a real haunted house. Why? I don't know. Diablo isn't a horror game, but made for a nice publicity stunt? And hopefully it brought more awareness to the Necromancer pack. Chobot hadn't played Diablo since, I believe 2013 is what she said. So she represented an important demographic. Former Diablo 3 players that might be interested in returning to the game. Diablo's senior developer and all-around badass Travis Day joined Jessica via the internets for a few hours. But Chobot ultimately streamed the campaign up until 6 AM, intermittently taking trips around the haunted house to try and coax a ghost into doing something. The camera setup they had for the whole event was fantastic. I loved the streaming camera setup. They had like over-the-shoulder views. They would swap, cut. It was all very professional. And as they would go through the house, it was very reminiscent of every terrible found footage film released since the Blair Witch Project. Now, while I don't believe we got to witness any spooky happenings, Jessica seemed to stand firmly by the belief that something struck or touched in some way the back of her head, and she developed a very real headache after that. I personally think that the headache was more likely to have been induced by the clearly uncomfortable headset she was wearing, but that's just my armchair diagnosis. On to our next story, I'd like to highlight an insightful theory raised by Reddit user Jugulator concerning the new realms of fate added into patch 2.6. The lore behind these regions is as follows. The high heavens are still reeling from the events of the Primeval's assault. The Archangel of Fate, Ethereal, has discovered a curious development in the far corners of his sanctified libraries. The tomes and histories stored within his libraries are changing the heavens themselves, transforming into small pockets reflecting the past, present, and potential futures. That's a lot of plosive sounds. Though no one can make sense of why this has occurred, it still poses a threat to Sanctuary. So Jugulator points us towards the prophecy of the end of days as recited and recorded by Deckard Cain. This is something that we're made aware of at the start of Diablo 3. The prophecy is, "And at the end of days, wisdom shall be lost, as justice falls upon the world of men. Valor shall turn to wrath, and all hope will be swallowed by despair. Death, at last, shall spread its wings over all, as fate lies shattered forever." Now, it seems that every line in this prophecy reflects something that has happened in the story of Diablo 3 or prior. Starting with the first line, "Wisdom shall be lost." Malthael was the Archangel of Wisdom, and he left the Angiris Council, the Council of Angels, after the events of Diablo 2, so this is before the start of Diablo 3. Next line, "Justice falls upon the world of men." Tyrael is the Archangel of Justice, and in Diablo 3, the start of the story has Tyrael as a falling star plummeting to the world. Valor shall turn to wrath. Imperius is the Archangel of Valor, and Throughout Diablo 3, he seems pretty upset or wrathful towards the Nephilim. Next line, and all hope will be swallowed by despair. In Diablo 3, Oriel, the Archangel of Hope, is captured by Rakanoth, the Lord of Despair, and we have to free her. Then we have Death, at last, shall spread its wings over all. Malthael returned as the aspect of death. Now we're in Reaper of Souls expansion, as fate lies shattered forever. So far, every line in this poem has corresponded to one of the archangels, and each line correlates directly to something in the story of Diablo 3 or the pre-story of Diablo 3. This last line is the only one that has yet to be covered by the story. Now we know that at some point 2 expansions were planned for Diablo 3. So could this line have been meant to have been resolved in the second expansion? Are we instead now getting it resolved in the Realms of Fate or some future content? These regions do appear to be shattered remnants of Fate pieced together. Definitely food for thought. And lastly, for Diablo news, I wanted to cover 2 videos. One here is for the Curse of Tristram, which we've discussed before. This is a Diablo 2 remake being made by a modder in StarCraft 2. The creator released a new video showcasing every act, all 5 acts of Diablo 2, and the beta for his mod will start this summer in the Battle.net arcade, which I believe is freely available to everyone. Check the description below for more details and links. And the last video I wanted to bring up was just a great funny video that you all should watch. Carbot Animations, who creates funny cartoons for Blizzard games, has finally graced the Diablo franchise with one of his cartoons. And it's all about the release of the Necromancer. It's short, it's funny, check it out, you'll like it, link in the description. Okay, on to Overwatch news. So the big thing that happened last week was what could be considered a Doomfist leak. If you're somehow out of the loop on this, here's what happened. Basically, if you were on the public test server trying out the upcoming build, if your game crashed, you can find something interesting in the crash log. The log revealed that the internal name for the build being tested was 1.13.0.0 Doomfist/Summer Games. Whoops. Now, we've had hoaxes in the past, and we continue to have hoaxes, so people went about trying to corroborate this after the first person reported it, and soon enough people were crashing their game and posting their crash logs, also revealing that Doomfist/Summer Games title. Some people even looked into the game code itself and found the same title in there, and at least one person even recorded footage of himself opening the file to show the Doomfist title and prove that it wasn't faked. So what happened after that? A patch went out pretty quickly and removed the Doomfist Summer Games reference. We're now only left with version 1.13.0.0. To pile on to this, some people pointed out that a new hero has come out every 4 major versions. So Ana came out in version 1.1, but then after that it was every 4 versions. So 1.5 came Sombra and Orisa came with 1.9. So 1.13 would be on track for a new hero. Data miners also dug into the files and found evidence that heavily suggests that there is a new encrypted hero in the game files. So this is the best evidence we've had yet that Doomfist will soon be coming to Overwatch. For his name to have been in the build title, then this was either an internal joke, it was a screw-up that revealed Doomfist, or it was the devs deliberately screwing with us. It's one of those 3 things. And whichever it is, we'll find out soon enough because the summer games, if they're going to be at the same time as last year, will be coming up in August. Also in Overwatch news, if you're into that sort of thing, there's a new 19-inch tall Diva statue up for sale. If you have $450 just lying around. You know, just some spare statue money. Furthermore, Ars Technica released a video interview with game designers Jeff Kaplan and Jeff Goodman that shed some light onto Overwatch, both lore-wise and development-wise. Some of the key things we learned include that the team regrets giving Genji a double jump because it's really difficult to balance. We learned that Pharah was first developed as an interesting game mechanic that they built a character around, jetpack plus rockets, whereas Soldier 76 was almost the opposite, where he was a story concept fleshed out into a playable character. Ana, on the other hand, was about 50-50 split between story and game mechanic. As for Winston, he just started off as some cool concept art. We also learned that Bastion throughout development went through about a dozen different ultimates, and that Genji was so difficult to make that it took a year and a half to finalize him. The devs even had something to say about Doomfist. Have a listen.
Will Doomfist be the next hero? Doomfist would be sweet. I think it'd be sweet.
I think Doomfist would be super cool.
He's clearly shown his prowess in New Bonnie recently, so I think he might be a little OP. vote him in, but we'll see what happens.
Doomfist would purely be ranged attacks, I think.
Sniper of some kind?
Yeah, sniping,
probably.
and then I think magic. He would use magic and range attacks.
So if you're interested, I encourage you guys to check out the video for yourself. It's got plenty of Jeff trolling moments. We love Jeff Kaplan for that. Link down below. Now, we've had another question answered by Jeff on the forums. He explained why we don't have any water levels in Overwatch. Jeff says, while we might add more water and swimming at some point, we made a very conscious decision to avoid water gameplay for a few reasons. The main reason is that we rarely found swimming gameplay fun in other shooters. While the immersion is great, the actual moment-to-moment gameplay is usually underwhelming if not gimmicky. He went on to explain that it would be a huge job for the animators to have to make swimming animations for all the characters, and he closed by saying, "So while conceptually we think swimming is cool and adds to the immersion and fantasy of being in a cool game world, the practical reality of it has made us hold off for now. Maybe in the future." Now, what do you guys think about that? Do you want a swimming level in Overwatch? I've played plenty of arena shooters in the past, and I can't say that I miss swimming. And the last story we'll cover today is on the lighter side of news. Streamer Rudism, who previously brought us live gameplay of him playing Overwatch with bananas and Doritos, has now assembled a French baguette controller to play Widowmaker. Yes, he attached an Arduino microcontroller to a loaf of bread, making use of push buttons, a thumbstick, and a gyroscope to use the bread as a controller. And the sad thing about this story is that even with a baguette, he's a better Widowmaker than me. And that wraps up this video. As a reminder, check the description for links relevant to the stories we covered today, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Let me know what you think of the stories we've covered. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Twitch and Patreon supporters for making these videos possible. If you enjoyed this video, please share it, check out these other videos, and subscribe to join Rhykkers Raiders for more Diablo and Overwatch content.